And number one is in action tonight, Mike. Super Tuesday presented by KFC. Fat Tuesday from Starkville, Mississippi. Humphrey Coliseum. It's the SEC on ESPN. And our matchup, the Bulldogs of Mississippi State. They've won 13 of their 15 games in this building. Tonight they take on the number one team in the country, riding an 18-game winning streak. The longest in the country. Brad Nessler along with Jimmy Dykes. Jimmy, I've asked you this every time we've done Kentucky. Okay, how are you going to beat them?
Well, I think you have to have a desperate effort, and I think that's what Mississippi State will have in this ballgame, Brad. They come in losing 3 in a row. Desperate in February also becomes a dangerous ball club with Mississippi State. You have to play power ball against Kentucky. Mississippi State is built to play power ball. 2 of the last 3 times these teams have matched up, it's gone to overtime. As we take a look at the starting lineups. Big front lines for both teams, obviously, with Terrence Jones and Anthony Davis for Kentucky, Renardo Sidney and Arnett Moultrie, who is averaging a double-double. And in the backcourt, some good matchups as well. Marcus Teague, the freshman, against D-Boss, the wily old veteran and one of the top point guards in college basketball. Well, you know that Anthony Davis is going to be a major factor. The National Player of the Year, in my estimation, obviously the National Defensive Player of the Year. You see what he's doing around the rim, Brad. He erases clean twos. He's a shot maker inside off the layups and dunks. Arnett Moultrie is going to be a future pro. A terrific matchup tonight. Moultrie right now leading the SEC with 10 boards per game. He could have the potential to get Anthony Davis in foul trouble. 15 double-doubles for Arnett Moultrie at 6'11". And Moultrie and Davis will take it from Doug Shaws, along with Ted Valentine and Bert Smith, our officials, and we're underway. And Renardo Sidney, the big fella, hands it off to D-Boss. And they go right inside to Sidney against Davis. And he draws a double team. Well, you see the respect Calipari has for Renardo Sidney. Good pick and roll. Terrence Jones got a hand on it. Mississippi State opens with a turnover. And on the other end, Kidd-Gilchrist misses. Jones missed twice. And the ball out of bounds to Mississippi State as we check in with Shannon.
Well, Brad, Renardo Sidney, Mississippi State's big guy. He sat out this weekend's game against Auburn because of lower back spasms. But he said this week, I am definitely playing against Kentucky. Of course, he's made good on that promise. He is receiving treatment, according to the trainers, some stem, heat, and good old-fashioned massages. Coach Stansberry said his body, his big body, he's got 30 pounds on every other player out on the court, is so important. But what else is important is he must play well. Brad?
That 30 pounds might be before lunch.
Renardo Sidney, though, is a bright light, big stage guy. I can tell you that.
There you go.
That's what he does. You bring the number one team to town, Big Shug is ready to play.
You've been saying that all day. When the bright lights come on, he likes to play.
I know how he operates, man.
Let's see how he does on the defensive end. He's going to give Anthony Davis all the room he needs. Jones against Moultrie. And D-Boss with a strip. Ball is free. Kentucky turns it over. Bryant going all the way to the rack, and it's blocked by Kidd-Gilchrist. The other way, Jones bumped by Sidney. No foul call. And Mississippi State's got it back.
Boy, Renardo Sidney, you talk about throwing up a defensive wall. Look at
the lob to Moultrie. John Calipari's seen all that he wants to see in the opening minute and a half. Timeout, Kentucky. A 5-0 start for Mississippi State. What a way to open against number one. Here's the big fella Jimmy's talking about. He doesn't mind taking him on the outside. There's his 3. And then after the turnover, it was Boston Moultrie, 5-0. Anthony Davis has an answer. The opening shot for Kentucky.
Brad, Terrence Jones now on the bench. I mean, he took a real hard blow when he went into Renardo Sidney. And he went into that timeout holding that shoulder. And, boy, if he's not able to play, Mississippi State's chances go up.
Boss trying to pack it inside to Moultrie. Nice ball movement. They get it out of the corner. The 3's no good. And Kidd-Gilchrist with a rebound.
I think that was a calm my guys down timeout by John Calipari. He said today at the shoot around, it's going to happen. I'll get control of my guys and we'll start playing.
Rick Stansbury, on the other hand, said we have to play above our heads and we have to hope Kentucky's not on their game. That's pretty much what 26 people have been hoping this year.
Well, Darius Miller now assigned to check Arnett Moultrie, and that's a size advantage inside.
Nice drop step move, but Davis knocks it out off of Sidney. So Davis with his first block shot.
It's Terrence Jones. He fell on it right there, but then he also went hard into Renardo Sidney, and that's twice on that right shoulder in the first couple of minutes.
We'll have to keep our eye on him. It's a big loss for Kentucky on the inside, obviously.
Well, look at Arnett Moultrie out there at 6'11", being checked by Darius Miller.
3. Good. Rodney Hood. (8-2) Bulldogs. Miller will try to quiet the crowd. He's missed in the same spot twice. And Bryant with a rebound. Bost against Teague way out near midcourt. Nice crossover dribble by Bost all the way to the rack. He's fouled en route.
Boy, Bost is an experienced point guard in this league, and he has made high IQ plays to start the ball game, Brad. He is trusting his bailouts. Look at a couple of possessions ago. All the blue jerseys come inside. He was not penetrating with anything in mind other than attract and kick. And D. Bost is on his game to start this one.
D's #1 in the conference in minutes played. He's the #1 assist and #1 in steals actively in the SEC. And that is his 1,547th point to boot. Not a bad career, huh?
Brad, he's a big game player as well. You know, he played well at Vanderbilt in their best win of the year so far. Has been struggling from the three-point line, D. Bost has, and I think it's a big key for the Bulldogs tonight if this kid can make 3 or 4.
And he got both his free throws. You saw Renardo Sidney sit down. That'll give him an extra minute or so before the TV timeout to rest.
Kentucky needs to go inside, Brad. They need to take 2s right now instead of long 3s.
There's a long 2 by Lamb that rimmed out. So he and Miller have both missed from the outside. Miller twice and Lamb once. Bost is going to take a 3. Kidd-Gilchrist with a rebound. Teague pull-up jumper. Kentucky continuing to shoot from the outside. Now they get it inside because Davis got the rebound, but he lost it. And the Bulldogs have got it back.
Cal's guys, they're playing way too fast offensively in this building. I mean, they're not putting the fannies back in the seats right now because of how fast they're shooting on the offensive end.
Most of the people are out of their seats, in fact. Here's Hood. Davis trying to set a screen for Bryant. He'll pull up over Davis. Awfully tough shot. And Kidd-Gilchrist has got his 3rd rebound.
Terrific defense by Anthony Davis to be the hedge guy and then switch out and challenge, make it a tough 2. Anthony Davis can defend any position on the floor, and he will within this ball game.
Kentucky 1 out of 9. Mid-range jump shot by Davis. Their only score so far. That one won't go. And Moultrie's got an easy rebound.
Brett, that is not the shot that Kentucky and John Calipari wants or needs. You get Anthony Davis shooting 16, 17-footers instead of playing power ball around the rim. That's why you're down 10-2 early.
Bost around a pick. Up and under around Davis. That's not easy to do. 10-point Mississippi State lead.
This thing should go inside on this possession.
Terrence Jones trying to force a shot. No foul called. He's trying to lean into his defender, Lewis. And John Calipari saying, are you kidding me? That's what we wanted?
No and no.
Hood with their 3. Bulldogs didn't need that one either, but now it's just run and gun by both teams. Here's Jones inside. Finally, the Wildcats get it inside for an easy one. Not before they found themselves down double digits, and we still haven't had a stoppage in play with a TV timeout, and Renardo Sidney's getting a big rest over there for Mississippi State. Boss weaving around, bounce pass underneath to Bryant. What a great dish by D-Boss.
How under control is D-Boss off the on-ball action so far? Not predetermining what he's going to do with the ball, taking 2 dribbles and reading the defense to perfection.
Teague in the lane. Rebound is tipped. Loose ball. Who's going to get it? Davis finally found the handle and was fouled. 13-12 remaining in the first half. D showing him who's boss right now. Bulldogs with a big lead and a confused Kentucky coach.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by KFC. Bring something different to the party with KFC sauceless hot wings, now just 50 cents each. And in part by Prudential, who brings you day1stories.com. Prudential, bring your challenges.
Bullies loving it. 10-point Mississippi State lead, 13-12 till halftime. Jimmy takes us inside the play.
He's loving the high IQ that D-Boss is playing with in this ball game. When you come off of an on-ball action, there's a screen, 1, 2 dribbles, now read. And this is going to be the cut. And you see D-Boss, man, he's looking, he's surveying, what is the defense giving me? He has respect for Anthony Davis, but he keeps his eyes up, not predetermining what he's going to do off of that action. And D-Boss right now, Brad, 4 assists on Mississippi State's 5 makes.
And right now, Kentucky's 2 out of 13 from the floor. Hurried, bad shots, 15% field goal percentage right now. Boston's going to get a little breather. Remember, we're only about a minute and change away from another media timeout. So right now, Rick Stansbury's playing it very well, giving his big guys some rest when he needs to, giving his point guard some rest when he needs to.
You think this thing goes inside after timeout from Kentucky and Calipari? He knows.
I would think so.
There's the touch that he wants.
Terrence Jones up and under. Nice move and one. Chance for a three-point play for Terrence Jones.
Absolutely what John Calipari knew that he wanted for his team to settle him down. Like you said, partner, they've taken hurried, tough shots, so they get Terrence Jones, who is their most physical guy around the rim. The basketball, hot spot on the floor.
Now a chance to make it 3. And does. 5 points for Terrence. Cuts the lead to 7.
Will that be the basket that kind of settles Kentucky down?
Remember, they're riding an 18 straight winning streak. 6 straight road wins. First time for both those statistics since 2003.
That D-Boss looked like he was maybe messing with some cramps over there in that last timeout. Because now DeVille Smith and DeVille Smith is a freshman. He's not D-Boss. And we need to keep an eye on Boston this game with those legs.
Good for 3. Got it.
What a find by Renardo Sidney. Kentucky doubling him on the immediate touch, not waiting until he bounces the ball. Renardo Sidney reading it very well.
So just when Kentucky cut it to 7, down 10 again. As you saw there, they don't get down 10 very often. Renardo Sidney out of a double team right here, Jimmy.
Brad, he only has 3 assists. Renardo Sidney does in conference play, but so far in this ball game, he has his head up and he's reading the defense from the post position as well as D-Boss is from the point guard spot.
Looks like a guy hungry to play tonight.
I would bring Anthony Davis, you're right about that, into some screening action and make Renardo Sidney defend it.
There's a pick and roll. Kidd-Gilchrist didn't get it to him, though. Now he has it down. And they run out of time. Shot clock violation. 11:53 remaining. First half. All Bulldogs so far. They lead by 10. Active valor and active athleticism. He's got 1 block shot tonight, but he's got 131 on the season. And that's tops not only in the SEC, but tops in the country as well. But so far, active valor's been on Mississippi State's side tonight. They lead by 10.
Kentucky has gotten control of 60 of Anthony Davis' 131 blocks. He's the trigger guy for them defensively, defends multiple spots. Bernardo Sidney back in the game, and D. Boss, Brad, continues to sit. Yep. I don't know if it's cramps or what it is, but there's something not right with D. Boss, or he would be back in this ball game.
Because he was marvelous in the first 5 minutes.
Absolutely.
Whoops. And his replacement just threw it away. Jones, bounce pass, Kidd-Gilchrist.
What a pass, but what hands by MKG in traffic. That thing was thrown about knee level to a 6'7" guy. Not easy.
So transition points for Kentucky off the turnover. They're looking for more right now. Here's Steele on the outside. Missed a three. And thrown away again. This time, I don't know that you can blame the point guard that time. This one you can, though. Smith threw it away. There's that bounce pass. Jimmy said the Kidd-Gilchrist, great job of handling it.
The size of Kentucky really bothered DeVille Smith in that press. DeVille Smith is about 5'11". We know the size of Kentucky. They really cover you up.
DeBost is back in the lineup for the Bulldogs. And Kentucky throws it away. And here he is. Boss going to go coast to coast. Rejected by Jones. Comes free to Hood. And he'll rim out a shot, and Davis will clear. Teague all the way. Got it. Nice drive by Marcus Teague.
Brad, he's playing national championship quality good at that point guard spot. And it's not easy to do. Over the last 15, 16 years, only 2 freshman point guards have been able to do it. Jerry McNamara at Syracuse, the Bibby Kidd at Arizona. A lot on his plate trying to get to New Orleans.
No doubt about that. This is as close as Kentucky's been since it was 8-2, and they got a push on the inside.
Kentucky's so good at position defense. Terrence Jones is in prime time position on that drive. He didn't get ahead of the ball. He didn't get too far behind it. He stayed at ball level. Jones and Davis, they block shots because they're in position, where a guy like John Henson from North Carolina, he blocks shots because he's out of position.
Terrence Jones picked up that foul on the inside, trying to get to the basketball in the paint. And so a fresh shot clock with 10:27 and a half, and an easy entry pass to Moultrie for the flush.
That should never happen. The guy guarding the ball out of bounds has to be at the angle between the basketball and the rim. Should never happen.
Land from the outside. He's missed from the same spot twice. And Bryant will pull up and hand it off to DeBoss. Past the midway point of the first half. If you're just joining us, Mississippi State on their home floor has led by 10 on several occasions, and they lead the #1 team in the country by 8 right now. Sidney has to give it back to Boss with 7 on the shot clock. The lob underneath is too hard. Off the window. And another Mississippi State turnover. Here comes Teague. Kentucky's got numbers. And the ball's going to be out of bounds to the Bulldogs. Coming up tomorrow night, ESPN2's got a college basketball doubleheader at 7. Notre Dame hosts West Virginia. And then at 9 o'clock, Kansas and Texas A&M get together. Kansas #5 in the country. Presented by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, doubleheader of Wednesday night hoops tomorrow on ESPN2. Brad Nessler, Jimmy Dykes, Shannon Spake with you from Starkville, Mississippi, where Kentucky's got some early issues here, and they trail by 8.
Notre Dame with Mike Gray, Bill Self at Kansas, Frank Haith, although they lost tonight, and John Calipari. Those 4 guys who I have my eye on right now for that National Coach of the Year.
Moultrie got the baseline, got the basket. I didn't think he was going to beat Davis to the hoop, but he did.
Arnett Moultrie does not have a go-to shot. They move him around off of action. He has to get a crease and then use his quickness, and that's exactly what transpired on that play. Anthony Davis got hung up just a little bit on that pick-and-roll action. Moultrie did a good job of spacing off of it, and then 2 dribbles, bam, he's at the rim.
Moultrie, the #4 scorer in the conference, #1 rebounder, 10th in the league in free throw shooting, and he shows why. 7 points for Moultrie, and the lead goes back to double digits. It's Mississippi State by 11.
Desperate teams become dangerous teams. That's what Kentucky's up against tonight.
Davis and Lewis all over it. Kidd-Gilchrist on the drive, up and under. So strong. Woo!
does some of that LeBron James just right through guys' shoulders at the college level. One guy cannot keep him from getting to the rim.
6'7" and 235 pounds. Boss for three. And got it! That's a veteran getting the crowd right back into it.
Since he's checked back in, his legs have looked fine.
Darius Miller trying to back in. He'll have to give it back. Teague for three. Yes.
Kentucky can invert their offense anytime they want. They have a size advantage mismatch with Miller. They post him up, and Miller becomes a passer off the post.
Lost the bounce pass. Almost let it get away. Pick and roll to Moultrie, and he threw it too far in front of him. 5th Mississippi State turnover. But they have a 9-point lead with 7 minutes, 48 seconds remaining in the half. Rick Stansbury, his team in front. He'll talk with Shannon when we come back. All right, Coach, here an upset in the making, a 9-point lead for Mississippi State. And Shannon talked to Rick Stansbury a moment ago.
Well, Coach, you told me today that in order to have success in this game, you had to be playing at your best. What have you seen out of your players so far?
Well, we're playing pretty well so far. And, hey, I think we've been very good defensively. Control the flow of the game, but it's early yet. You know how explosive Kentucky is. But I love our focus and our effort.
D. Boss was on the bench for a small portion of this first half so far. Why?
Well, that's good. You know, we've got to rest him some. I don't rest him a whole lot, but this kind of emotional game, I got to get him some rest.
Thanks, Coach.
He barely rests him at all. He's #1 in minutes played at 35.2 in the conference. And Rodney Hood and Arnett Moultrie, his two teammates, are right behind at 2 and 3. Beal and Jenkins from Florida and Vanderbilt, respectively, the next in line. Those are the guys that play the most minutes. He's back out there right now. And he has been sensational in the first half, not only with his assists, but he's got 7 points.
Mississippi State goes zone. It's a 2-3 bump zone. Kentucky's so good at executing against it.
And Welcher walked with it, and he hurt his knee. There's something in the pile up in the middle.
Shannon asked Rick Stansbury what I was wondering about with D. Boss. And you see going into one of the first timeouts, he was over there stretching. They started massaging his calves. I think he was trying to fight off cramps for a little bit. And that, in Rick Stansbury's mind, kept him on the bench for maybe a couple extra minutes, you know?
Well, Wilcher was out there for all of 13 seconds, and he's on the Kentucky bench. I think he banged knees with somebody on the inside trying to get the basketball to Terrence Jones. There was some congestion in the lane, and he immediately grabbed his knee, and so he's in and out that quickly.
Mississippi State's man-to-man defense has been so good. I think that was just one possession out of the timeout, and they will go back to man on the next possession.
Boss working against Teague. He's got that quick first step and now a fadeaway jumper. And that shot was altered by Davis, which we've seen several times this year. Even on the outside, he makes you change your shot. Whoa, a fastball to Jones. And Moultrie blocked that one. That pass had some serious heat on it. Maybe too much.
Brad, early in this game, Renardo Sidney has ran stride for stride with Anthony Davis. You see Sidney on the left. He matched Anthony Davis sprinting rim to rim, and that was a big concern for Rick Stansbury this afternoon.
I'm not sure that'll hold up all night, stride for stride with Anthony Davis.
No.
Here he is, trying to work around the big fella. Oh, tough shot, and Sidney made it even tougher for him. And he's shaking his head as if say, don't bring that stuff here. Not a fadeaway jumper from 17, because my body's in your way.
Yeah, you've heard me say it before. Just because you can get a shot off doesn't mean you have to take it. And Anthony Davis takes a challenged, hard, tough 2 against 295 pounds.
Watch the shot clock. They had 1 expire on him already tonight. It's at 10 right now. It's stolen by Boss. D-Boss to slam it home. Timeout, Kentucky. The senior from Concord, North Carolina, is having himself a time tonight. I told you, tops in the conference in steals, and then the throwdown at the end. 27-16. Mississippi State at 6.5 first half.
Now the timeout. Rick Stansbury goes back to his zone.
Teague thought about a three. Kidd-Gilchrist buries a jumper.
Every coach in this league will tell you Kentucky is hard to zone against. They move the ball and they get the ball to that free throw lane and they make high IQ plays from it.
They have good shots. They're not necessarily great shooters,
right?
But they get in good spots to make, as you said, high percentage shots.
Davis has switched out now, guarding a three-man, and Kentucky doesn't panic. They trust him to be able to delete the drive. He can guard his yard for a guy 6'11".
Absolutely. Bost up off the window, foul by Jones. His second. Bost going to get a trip to the free throw line. Thursday night, ESPN's got a college basketball doubleheader. Starting off in the ACC, Duke and Florida State get together. And then in the Big East, battle between Louisville and Cincinnati. 7 and 9, presented by T. Rowe Price, our Thursday night showcase this week.
That's a Duke ball club with Missouri losing tonight. That's a Duke ball club. They get hot now. They could work their way into that #1 seed conversation.
Their time of year.
It's their time of year.
What a game this young fella's had. 10 points for Bost.
We walked into the arena about 2 hours before game time, and Bost was sitting over by himself, and I went over to him for a few minutes. I said, "How do you feel, young fella?" He said, "This is why you play this night right here." And he was just kind of taking in the whiteout and the environment, and you knew that he was going to bring a lot of juice, a lot of energy, and a lot of leadership to this Mississippi State club.
Got his team up 11 again at 5:40 in the first half. Remember, Kentucky riding the nation's longest winning streak of 18, 6 straight on the road, and in trouble in Starkville tonight.
Grant State's defense is all inside the three-point line. They're playing the percentages that Kentucky can't make enough threes to win this game. So far, it's worked out well because those 2-point shots that Kentucky kills people with, they're just not there.
Kidd-Gilchrist and Teague, the two freshmen, or two of the freshmen, are keeping Kentucky in the ballgame. Teague's got 2 threes and 8 points overall. Gets the lead back to 8. Hood, nice spin move in the paint. Didn't get the roll, though, and Kidd-Gilchrist doing it on the boards again.
Well, he rejected that ball screen well, stayed under control, did everything but get it to drop.
Teague got stripped by Bost. And Renardo Sidney goes to the deck. And the Bulldogs got a timeout call, and we got another guy down as well, and I think we got a technical also. There's a lot happening right now. Just stay where you are. Marcus Teague has been assessed a technical, and it's Bost, or rather Rodney Hood, who's down right now. Renardo Sidney went to the deck after Bost stripped that ball in the paint, covered the ball. They got the timeout call, and then I didn't see what happened with Teague, but Doug Shows threw a technical on Marcus Teague in the middle of all that action. Ron Calipari looking for an explanation.
Red officials are on high alert the last 2 or 3 weeks about sportsmanship and not allowing anything confrontational, verbally or contact-wise.
Here's the play. There's the strip by Bost. And now Hood, well, he just sort of went down on his own. He was tangled up with Kidd-Gilchrist a little bit. And there's the reaction, I guess, of Teague.
Yep.
With the frustration of not having a foul call in there when he thought he was fouling the lane, and that's where the technical came from.
Brad, Hood got kneed in the back of the knee watching that replay, and he immediately dropped. Watch what happens right here. They're going to see that knee come in.
Oh,
right here.
Right in the calf, Jimmy, or back of the knee. You're right.
And he goes down from that spot on. Immediately, bam. So
we've had a couple of knee issues. Wilcher, who only lasted about 13 or 14 seconds when he came off the Kentucky bench. And now it's Rodney Hood, the freshman, one of their starters, who is limping, and I think he's heading to the locker room. And he is. So that'll be it for him for this half. The trainer, Scotty Johnson, and his group helping him to the locker room. Mississippi State's down a starter. They'll put Jalen Steele in his spot. So it's going to be Moultrie, Sidney, Steele, Bryant, and DeVos, who's at the free throw line, shooting the technical.
And Doug Shows was immediately on top of Marcus Teague with a hand slap, showing the displeasure and the frustration with a foul call.
Back to a double-digit advantage. DeVos has got 13 points to lead all scorers. And now it's Mississippi State ball after the free throws on the technical.
That is an unsportsmanlike technical foul on Marcus Teague for jawing directly at Doug Shows. And Doug Shows said, you got to stick them when they do it.
Well, you get away with a little bit of jawing against the opponent, but not the official.
No.
Couldn't draw this one up any better if you're a Mississippi State fan. 10-point lead at the 4.5-minute mark of the first half.
Well, they have moved Anthony Davis away from the rim defensively in this ball game.
For 3 more. 16 for DeVos.
You better start chasing him off the three-point line, Brad. I said he needed to make 3 or 4. He's already at that quota. And you better start making him now beat you off the bounce.
Davis lays it in. Only his second basket, though.
Yeah, but again, Kentucky, Brad, taking the ball into traffic, trying to get it all back off of one play and off of one pass. It's really out of character, Kentucky is offensively.
Under 4 minutes now. DeVos has been in total control. The guys in gray and maroon. Lob underneath. Moultrie from Bryant.
Brad, I mentioned Mississippi State is dragging Anthony Davis out on the perimeter. Because of that, those long plays and those drives have taken the best shot blocker out of this game.
Bulldogs by a lucky 13. And now we got a foul on the inside. I think it's going to be on Renato Sidney. It is. That'll be his first. But right now, Mississippi State leading the #1 team in the country by 13. Can't wait to hear what John Calipari's got to say to Shannon.
Will join me as well, guys.
All right, Coach, see you in 3.5 minutes. Right now, 13-point lead by Mississippi State. John Calipari with Shannon a moment ago.
Coach, you did tell us today that you knew that this Mississippi State team would come out strong in the first half. What's your message to your guys to calm down and take control?
It's not calm down, it's compete. They're beating us to every ball. They're playing harder. They're being more physical. We can't play through a bump when miss 10 layups on drives and complaining about officials instead of balling. You got to compete. And this is good for my team. We'll see what happens from here on in.
As far as DeVos, 16 points, what adjustments do you think you guys are going to make?
Somebody got to guard him. I mean, right now, we're supposed to dig, but not off him. We just left him. You know, plus he's making free throws and layups too, but he's playing great.
Thanks, Coach.
He is playing great. 16 points. You see Cal's reaction behind DeVos. 5 assists and 3 steals. That's a whole ball game sometimes. That's just the first half so far for the senior.
And Brad, he came in shooting 29% from the three-point line in the last 3 games. But again, Mississippi State is desperate. They're hungry.
There's another example of 50-50 balls. That rebound was anybody's. The Bulldogs got to it first.
Kentucky has only taken 1 free throw in this ball game. Again, not strong enough to go by guys' hips, go through contact, and force the issue.
Remember, Kentucky's #1 in the country in field goal percentage defense. And right now, Mississippi State shooting 50% from the floor. Block shot by Davis. On the other end, Sidney has one of his own.
I'm telling you, it is a rare day when Renato Sidney runs from offense to defense like this. He's lively, he's active, he's engaged, and he's moving that 290 pounds around very well in this ball game.
There was a foul before that rejection by Sidney on DeVos, and that'll send Deron Lamb to the free throw line. The #2 free throw shooter in the conference, as a matter of fact. So Lamb with a 3-point play on a goaltending and a foul. A little bit of everything on that play.
Now Michael Kidd-Gilchrist is checking D. Boss. That's probably the toughest, strongest, most determined defender that John Calipari has. Will it hold up?
He got away from him, but missed the shot. Had the speed on him, but the shot was off the mark. And now Kentucky can get it back to single digits.
I'm just really surprised that Kentucky's not dragging Renardo Sidney up and making him play that pick action. Now, here we go.
Well, he came halfway. Terrence Jones with authority, but Moultrie got a piece of that.
You know, Kyle Wilcher is a kid that Kentucky can put in and get that matchup with Sidney guarding him. Now, and Wilcher's a pick and pop guy.
Yeah, but he hurt his knee earlier, and so he hadn't been out there 15 seconds maybe in the whole game.
Just the things that have to happen to beat Kentucky, so far they have.
That's a tough pass to handle, and last touch by the Cats. There's Kyle Wilcher. And as I mentioned, he came in and he banged knees with somebody in there and was only in about 15 seconds of the whole game.
He's a 50%, 48% three-point shooter in SEC play. This is not an easy spot to get the ball in bounds, and Kentucky just kind of lets them have it.
10 seconds on the shot clock. Bost got a pick. Brings it back outside to Bryant. Somebody's going to have to shoot right here. Over Jones, and he got it at the buzzer. That's when you know things are going well. A minute and a half in the half. Mississippi State by a dozen.
Again, look at all the defenders inside that three-point line. They're making it tough for Kentucky to get gaps and attack.
Lamb and Miller, the best outside shooters out there for Kentucky right now. Lamb's going to try to take it off the glass and does.
And Brad, that all started with D. Boss. He got too high out on the floor. That gave Deron Lamb a little momentum to go by him. Again, if you're Mississippi State, just stay inside that line right now.
Under a minute in the half. Boss scanner the court. Takes it in the paint, has to bring it back to Steele. He'll take a three, and he got it. His first basket, and it's another big one.
I don't think D. Boss has made one bad decision with a basketball in this game. Other than the quick three from the corner, he has graded out 99%.
About a 3-second difference on the shot clock and the game clock as we approach halftime. Kentucky's going to be heading to the locker room in a big hole. Kidd-Gilchrist blocked by Bryant. Comes free to Jones, and he's fouled, and that's going to be kind of a big foul because I think it's on D. Boss.
10 seconds before the half, Boss picks up another one.
I think I'd get him out of there.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. D. Boss again, Brad. A lot of point guards against Kentucky. They get sped up, and their feet go faster than their mind. D. Boss tonight, his mind is at the same tempo as his sneakers, and he's making all the right reads, all the right passes. He's running the offense and running his play.
You can see encouraging his team even behind Terrence Jones' free throws, which is off the mark. Now let's see. Sidney's going to come back in. Rick Stansbury's going to leave D. Boss in there with the thinking that, hey, he's a senior, he can handle it, he won't pick up another foul. I'd be a little nervous the way he's playing.
I agree with you now. Is it worth D. Boss potentially picking up a third foul on a charge? I don't think it is.
Well, he's going to handle it, but he got it out of his hands to Steele. Still a couple of seconds left, and the ball's going to be out of bounds to Kentucky. So unless Kentucky can get a shot here, they're going to trail by 13 at halftime.
I think they try to throw this thing to Anthony Davis or cut cutters off of him. Kentucky very well schooled in these late clock situations. There's the cut off of Davis, and there's the shot.
And it's up off the clock. And Kentucky, its biggest deficit of the season at halftime, is number one going to fall. We still got a half to go, but it's all Mississippi State right now. 41-28 as we head to the UPS halftime report. Jonathan Coachman, Stephen Bardo standing by. Coach, I don't know what's going to happen, but it's pretty exciting in Starkville. And an upset in the making right now in Starkville, Mississippi. Still a half to go, but Kentucky this season has not trailed an entire half. They have trailed the entire 20 minutes to open up this game. 41-28 at the break, 13-point lead for Mississippi State. Welcome back, everybody. Brad Nessler and Jimmy Dykes. You and I have covered DeBost for 4 years now. If he's played a better half than what we just saw, I missed it somewhere. Yeah, he's been terrific. We said at the top of the show, to beat Kentucky, you have to have the ability to play power ball. And DeBost has been the trigger guy for their power points around the rim. He has been on time, on target with his passing. He has knocked down threes with great confidence, coming in at 29% over the last 3 ball games. He's been an active leader, Brad, on both ends of the floor. Think about this. Mississippi State with 5 dunks in the first half. Kentucky only 1. That's another thing that is flip-flopped right now on Kentucky. Remember, Kentucky's #1 in the country in field goal percentage defense. 36.2%. Look. There's only been 3 blocks so far. The rebounding has been off. Everything's been off for this part of the first half as far as Kentucky's concerned. 41 first half points for the Bulldogs. Calipari told his guys today, you and I were talking to him and Shannon, he said, if we go down, let's make sure we go down. And it was really, really hard for 40 minutes to beat us. Right. It was not really, really hard for 20 minutes. Now, can they come back the next 20 and get their way back in this ball game? You know, somewhere in there's a run in Kentucky. And that's just a given, unless Mississippi State can absolutely play 20 more minutes of brilliant basketball, which they did in the first half. Here we go. Brad, this is where the older players for Kentucky, Terrence Jones, Darius Miller, Deron Lamb, they need to lead the charge to start this second half. Here's Terrence Jones working against Moultrie. Almost walked with it. And now he's in trouble. Trying to get rid of the ball. Just has to lob it out to Teague, and he threw it away. Not what Kentucky was looking for in the opening possession. But Davis with a steal on the other end. You have to read where Anthony Davis is. You cannot make that pass against AD. 3 goes for Deron Lamb. Keep an eye on Lamb, Jones, and Miller to start this second half. Remember, Mississippi State came in having lost 3 straight, including a home loss to Georgia in overtime. Rick Stansbury says that's one that we've got to get back somehow. Well, if you pick off the #1 team in the country, that gets it back for you. But we've still got 19 minutes to play. Bost feeds inside to Sidney. Backs in on Davis. Davis stays with him. Sidney missed the shot. Now it's Teague ahead to Jones. 5 straight points to open the half for Kentucky. Didn't take long to get it to single digits, did it? Partner John Calipari had an eye-to-eye, man-to-man talk with Terrence Jones as they came out of that locker room. And Terrence Jones has a determined look in his eye to start this half. Lob is a bad one. Not a good idea by Steele. Again, if Anthony Davis is around the rim, forget about throwing that pass. Teague spins inside, a little bit off balance. Bost will pull down the miss. And ahead, got a man in front to Bryant. And he lays it in. And another assist by DeBost. That's his 7th. That's on Deron Lamb. Marcus Teague is underneath the rim. Deron Lamb is the 2 guard. Now becomes the primary guy responsible for defensive balance. Jones working against Moultrie. He's got to give it up. Kidd-Gilchrist with a pull-up jumper, and he buried it. He's been pretty big tonight. 10 points for Kidd-Gilchrist. The only thing he doesn't do, Kidd-Gilchrist, is make threes. Every other area of the game, you trust him 100%. I do. Davis just whacked that thing out of bounds as we check in with Shannon.
Well, Brad, I have some injury updates for you. Kyle Wilcher, he has a left knee contusion. He does have his T-shirt on right now, but the team is telling me he is probable to return. As far as Rodney Hood, you saw that tough hit he had in the first half. The team said he is done for the game. He has a bruised left knee. He's already taped and iced, and there's some swelling they'll evaluate further tomorrow. But a big loss as he averages over 34 points a minute. And Stansbury used that as motivation. He told his guys, get out there and win for him.
Rodney Hood, one of the starters. And the ball goes the other way. Now we got a a foul on Teague. And that's going to be his third when you count the technical.
Brett, Marcus Teague was backpedaling. The first first steps of 25 in blue, he was in backpedal mode, and that's where he lost the battle. He's responsible for defensive balance. He has to be in sprint mode and then turn around. The backpedal is the reason for the foul.
So again, as Shannon was talking about, Wiltshire, who can come off the bench and hit threes for Kentucky, as Ryan at the free throw line, and Rodney Hood, a starter who averages almost 35 minutes a game, will not return. And that really cuts in to Rick Stansbury's bench, because right now he's got Steele that he can play there, Wendell Lewis and DeVille Smith. That's about it.
Kentucky extremely big, Brad. You look at Darius Miller, now assumes the role of the two guard or Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, and Kentucky will post that position when they have a mismatch.
Mississippi State let Kentucky open the half with 5 straight points, and now they missed 2 free throws on the other end. They're leaving the door open right now. Sidney picks up his second, and it sends one of the best free throw shooters in the Southeastern Conference to the line. Not only that, but when you put a three-point shooter like Deron Lamb, who's got one this half but missed some in the first half, you put him at the free throw line and give him an easy one 15 feet away sometimes, he gets his eye back.
Sees the ball go through the net. Well put by you.
This is as close as it's been in a long, long time, and we're not even 4 minutes into the second half.
Brad, he's offset a little bit from the nail, which is where I like to line my shooters up, but his release point is almost right in the middle of the rim. So although he's offset with his feet, he's right in line with the front of the rim with the release point. So you leave him alone.
Ron Lamb, 5 for the half, 10 for the game. And the lead has been cut by more than in half. See if DeVos can get his group back offensively. There's the bounce pass to Sidney. He wouldn't handle it though, and he goes to the deck. The tie-up is going to keep the ball in Mississippi State's hands.
I think Kentucky fortunate they didn't get the timeout granted. You don't want to burn a timeout right now on that play. Anthony Davis, look where he is in the first half, Brad. Mississippi State dragging him away from the rim. And what does that do? It allows plays like this, boom, to develop. And will Mississippi State continue to have success dragging the nation's best shot blocker to the 19, 20-foot mark on the floor?
Kentucky has opened the second half with a 9-2 start. And DeVos will inbound with Kidd-Gilchrist guarding him on the baseline. Right now he's having some trouble finding an open man. He'll come to Moultrie out deep, and he'll give it right back to D.
Short clock, and DeVos, experienced guard, should understand it.
Pick and roll, got it to Moultrie on a bounce pass, but now this tie-up's going Kentucky's way.
Anthony Davis just erases anything around that restricted arc when he's there defensively. Not only as a shot blocker, but as a position hot hands defender. Watch Anthony Davis. Because he's in great position, watch what he does. He moves in, bam, hands just eat up the basketball.
Terrence Jones thought about a three. He's still thinking about it. Now he gets it into Davis. Backpedaling on Sidney with a hook shot. It's short, but Sidney fouls him, and that's 3 on Renato Sidney. And that's troublesome for Rick Stansbury.
Anthony Davis was patient, and Renardo Sidney, Brad, when Anthony Davis left the floor, Renardo Sidney kind of chested him and moved underneath him, and that's the right call.
Davis' first trip to the free throw line. Only 4 points tonight for the freshman out of Chicago. Kentucky was only 2 out of 4 from the free throw line in the first half. 3 for 3 here in the opening 4 minutes to start the second half.
Calipari's been so good all season long, keeping the pressure off of his young team. And that's what he talked about today. Regardless of what the score is in this game and what's going on, let's just make sure we're getting better. He told Shannon in the first half, this is good for our guys.
Right. And now Ted Valentine's over there. The clock keeper, I think, is what they're discussing over there at the scorer's table. You know, Anthony Davis is trying to cut this down to a 4-point game 4 minutes into the second half. Again, Rodney Hood not going to play anymore, and he had 2 3-pointers in the first half for Mississippi State. I think they've got it all figured out. They put 4 seconds back on the clock.
In a tight game like this,
might
think about those 4 seconds at the end of this thing. Huge opportunity for Mississippi State. Have a neutral 4 win over Arizona that's good, not great. Good solid win over West Virginia, and their win at Vanderbilt. They're 6-6. Right now, Joe Lunardi has Mississippi State projected around a 9 or 10 seed. They could play their way out of that thing or play their way up. This would be a big part of it.
This is as close as it's been since the first 2 shots of the ball game. Moultrie got it to go.
Again, Brad, he doesn't have a go-to shot, and I think that's something NBA scouts will pick up on. He needs a crease, and once he gets a crease, he uses his quickness very well around that rim.
Kidd-Gilchrist cross-court pass. Darius Miller 3. Tipped. Boss with a rebound. Tipped, though, by Bryant. He did a good job to keep it alive. Boss. He found a little opening, and Kidd-Gilchrist shut it in a hurry. 15-17 remaining in the ball game.
In the first half, John Calipari made the switch and put Kidd-Gilchrist on D-Boss. He starts the second half with that same matchup.
Raymond Johnson 3. Wow! Patterson got it. Underneath and a slam. Oh, wait a minute, Cousins. It's good. It's good. And it goes. The Cats prevail over the Dogs to win an SEC championship in overtime. And speaking of the SEC tournament, we're only a couple of weeks away. We'll be there to bring it to you on the SEC Network, ESPN, and on ABC Thursday and Friday, Saturday and Sunday. The semifinals and the finals on ABC. Jimmy and Shannon and I will be there in New Orleans. And hopefully it'll be half as good as this game has been tonight. All those games at the Hornets Arena.
If you don't have a ticket, probably too late. That's what
you're going to say.
That's the word.
Well, these 2 teams, 2 of the last 3 times they played to overtime. We were watching both of those. D-Boss, it was short. Lewis couldn't get it either.
9 possessions for Mississippi State to start the second half. 3 turnovers and only 4 points. The nation's best defense has tightened up Kentucky.
Lamb in the paint. Tipped by Davis to himself. It comes free to Lamb. And now he and Darius Miller will bring it back out.
Lamb's going to have to be good at that point guard spot. Teague with 3 fouls. So this is your second primary handler that Calipari's going to trust.
Kidd-Gilchrist on the drive. Rejected inside. Both teams doing a good job blocking shots tonight.
Kidd-Gilchrist, 6'7", 230 pounds. Tough enough and determined enough to make it hard on D-Boss.
The steal on a pick and roll to Moultrie. And he's fouled by Terrence Jones.
You know, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, he jumps off of his left foot, and he's not near as explosive as he is off of his right. And as a result, he doesn't elevate quite as high. And the block just waiting to happen.
That foul's on Terrence Jones. That is only his second. He had 2 in the first half. The official scores at halftime changed it and gave 1 to Darius Miller. Here's a steal by Davis and to the rim. Wow.
Did I mention he's more than a shot blocker? Oh, this will upset Calipari. Anthony Davis, I think he felt like he got nudged and got off balance going in. I think Anthony Davis trying to protect himself. Doug Schaus stuck him immediately for hanging on the rim, but first of all, an unbelievable one-on-one defensive play by Davis. No, he wasn't. No, looking back now, that's the right call.
Yep.
There was no contact. He's free. No reason to hang on the rim. And proper call by Doug Schaus.
D-Boss making him pay on the other end. He's 7 for 7 from the free throw line. We've had a couple of technical fouls tonight. And DeBost has made him pay with free throws both times.
Again, if Anthony Davis is undercut or there's someone underneath him, then you can hang and pull that rim down. But there was no one in that spot on the floor.
He may have thought there was.
Ted Valentine, Doug Shows, and Bert Smith. You trust those guys from an official standpoint. They've been very good in this ballgame.
And now, Steele called for the foul. Or is it Lewis? It's Lewis instead. Six-point game with 13 and a half to go. And now we've got whistles and whistles and more whistles.
Brad, see what's happening with Kentucky's offense. Michael Kidd-Gilchrist is being guarded by someone 3 inches shorter and 30 pounds lighter. And John Calipari, when he goes to his power-built team, which he has on the floor now, he inverts those guys to the low block.
Kentucky trailing by 6. They were down 13 at halftime.
And Kidd-Gilchrist now has Boston. Go back to him on the inside.
There it is. And the hook shot's good.
That's why you go to him. John Calipari works him off of a shuffle cut. He recognized it. They were patient. They hit him from the weak side of the floor on a shuffle cut. Well done by the Big Blue.
7 minutes into the half. Again, Kentucky has cut the lead to 4. Moultrie got good position on Jones. He'll kick it out. And a three-pointer's good by Steele.
Brad, that's the one guy that you have to stay attached to. You cannot help off of Steele. That's what he does.
His 53rd three-pointer of the year. It was a big one.
Go back to Kidd-Gilchrist. Go back to Kidd-Gilchrist.
Moultrie picks up the personal, only his first.
Steele has made 28 threes and only 4 twos in SEC play. And you see the conversion, and you lose attachment on the perimeter. That's on Deron Lamb. That's his guy. Deron Lamb was not in position to help and choke off the drive. He's responsible for the shooter.
You see the whiteout react at the Humphrey Coliseum, where this team has lost only twice this year.
Darius Miller told us today, he said, this is like my 30th T-shirt game in my career. Every time they go on the road, they're passing out T-shirts on.
That means it's a big game. Davis, short on the jump shot. Jones kept it alive and scored.
That's what Terrence Jones has to do for Kentucky to cut down the nets. He has to be the most physical guy around the rim for the Wildcats. That was a grown man's rebound right there now.
Boss, there's the bounce pass to Lewis. Fans looking for a foul call on that one. And instead it's a block shot, and now a technical in the backcourt on Moultrie. Kurt Smith says, everybody hold the phone. Technical foul on Moultrie for his reaction on not having a foul called on that end of the court. Right now, the emotions are running wild in Starkville. There's where they wanted a foul call, and I think they have a pretty good argument.
Brad, that's a foul.
And then hanging on the rim was Moultrie as he just went up to try to get a rebound, and he gets teed.
This game is streaming live on your computer, tablet, or smartphone via WatchESPN.com and the Watch ESPN app.
50-45, Mississippi State clinging to a lead. I thought Moultrie was called, Jimmy, for hanging on the rim with that technical foul. But as we take you back and look again, you're going to see some other action right there.
Yeah, the trip right there is when it occurred, and the official right on top of it. And Bert Smith makes the call not only for John back at Bert Smith, but for the tripping action. And that's a big foul because now Mississippi State, Brad, 16 foul. Kentucky's in the bonus the rest of the game, and we're 12 minutes to go.
Exactly. We have had 3 technicals called tonight so far.
And composure in chaos, so important.
Well, Mississippi State had a 13-point lead for a good portion of the first half and at halftime. Kentucky came out of the blocks with the first 5 points of the second half. Now they've cut it down to 5 and kept it in that vicinity, and they're going to get an opportunity here to cut further into the lead from the free throw line and get the basketball. So this is where Kentucky can make their move. We said they would have a run at some point. You just know that's going to happen when you're the #1 team in the country. But maybe the run's going to come by technical here. We're about ready to find out with Anthony Davis at the free throw line.
Brad, after further review, Doug Schaus says that's a flagrant one for the kick, and that's the right call. And so it's 2 free throws for Kentucky, and then resumption of play at the point of interruption. And a big call that could turn this game around. Arnett Moultrie, again, not calm in a chaotic situation, has cost his team.
Davis at the free throw line. Let's check in with Shannon.
Well, guys, in that huddle, Coach Calipari telling his players pretty happy with the way they're ball screening in the second half. He did get on Jerron Lamb, Jimmy, for leaving his shooter open, as you just were talking about that Moultrie shot just a few minutes ago. But he is very happy with the team as far as ball screens, and he says just keep going.
Right now the game is swung with the technical. Not anything John Calipari said to his team, but rather what Mississippi State did to put his team in the situation they're in, which is they can tie it right now with a three-pointer.
Now Teague back in the ball game with 3 fouls.
And that would have tied it. But Moultrie's got the rebound.
Probably not the shot Kentucky wanted. Marcus Teague just checks in, and on the second touch he lets it fly.
Yep. This crowd's been taken out of it. They have been on fire all night, 10,000 plus at the hump. It's pretty quiet right now. Sydney would like to light them up. And again, Davis had his hand on the rebound. It'll be out of bounds. Mississippi State ball. John Calipari saying, how about a foul down there? And the Mississippi State fans are saying, how about a foul before that last technical? We were here a couple of years ago when the fans were not too excited about the way the officiating went. They got a little bit rough near the end of the ball game. We don't want that to happen again. Here's Bost. One-on-one with Gilchrist, looking for a pick. Sydney doesn't go to the basket, but he does go to the three-point line.
And what Michael Kidd-Gilchrist has quieted DeBost in this game. Defensively, he is the MVP right now for the Wildcats.
Pull up from the free throw line. He walked with it. Hasn't been a lot of turnovers. Tomorrow night, ESPN2, college basketball doubleheader for you. West Virginia, Notre Dame. And then at 9, Kansas takes out Texas A&M. Wednesday Night Hoops presented by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups starts 7 o'clock tomorrow night on ESPN2. Brad Nessler, Jimmy Dykes, Shannon Spake, and our ESPN crew. Starkville, Mississippi, where it's a 3-point game as we approach the midway point of the second half. Trying to feed the post to Moultrie. He goes to the deck again. And the possession arrow is going to go back to Mississippi State. We've had 3 or 4 of those tonight as well. Ron Lamb's going to come back in, and Michael Kidd-Gilchrist will get a breather.
Marcus Teague continues to guard the shooter, Jalen Steele. And that's the best matchup for a kid with foul trouble right now. You don't want him on a driver.
Steele's got 2 threes in the ball game. He'll be the trigger man on the baseline. DeBost got an immediate pick from Sydney. He tried to hook a pass back to him. It was deflected out of bounds.
You know how hard that play is, what Anthony Davis just did, Brad, to come out as a hedge defender, move his feet, and deflect the pass. Well done.
There's the numbers on DeBost second half. As Jimmy said, Kidd-Gilchrist has helped to shut him down. In this case right now, with Kidd-Gilchrist on the bench, it's Jerron Lamb that's guarding DeBost. His first half was as good as you're going to see. Here's Steele for 3.
Can't get loose now. Can't let him get loose.
John Calipari just rubbing his fingers through his hair as if to say, how do you let a guy that's that good a three-point shooter have that much room? Davis bumped on the way Bernardo Sidney has got 4 fouls.
Well, they're setting up an elevator screen, but they have the elevator closed on Marcus Teague. I mean, that's a big elevator. When Bernardo Sidney is part of the door that's closing down, bam.
That's one of those storage
that's how
elevators.
You get that's a storage elevator. That's how you get him open.
No, freight elevator, I guess is what you call that.
What a screen by Bernardo Sidney.
Anthony Davis at the free throw line. And that one comes out. Sidney going to sit with 4. That's a big loss. He's played a good game. And we've still got 10 minutes left.
Brad, when you're chasing a shooter, you caboose the shooter. You get right on his numbers in caboosing because the shooter didn't use the screen. The shooter went around it, and the defender tried to slide through the elevator and got caught.
Davis with 11 points has his team back to within 5 again. But we're past the midway point of the second half. It's Steele, Moultrie, Lewis out there now with Bost and Bryant with Sidney on the bench. Bost backpedals with 10 on the shot clock. And try to bounce pass on the baseline to Moultrie, and this one's out of bounds.
Brad, how do you come back on the road in a sold-out building?
Play great defense.
You play great defense. You read my mind as well you should, as much as we're together, and that's exactly what Kentucky is doing in the second half. They've allowed, what, 12 points?
Lamb got his man in the air. Teague gave up a 3. This time, he's going to work it to Lamb. And they all gave up some outside shots, and then Davis takes one. That's the last guy you probably want taking that one. And Lamb, Teague, and Miller all gave up what looked like makeable outside jumpers.
Anthony Davis has taken more 17-foot shots in this game than he has all year.
I think so. You're right. Bryant works the lane. Tough shot. Davis pulls down the miss. Teague, Lamb is open. Squares and fires. Davis almost tipped it in. Jones almost tipped it in. And now battle for the rebound. And a whistle. And a foul underneath.
And there's a lot of fight in Mississippi State right now. They have weathered what looked like Kentucky was making a major charge, and they're doing it with small guys on the floor.
Darius Miller was over the back. That was the call against Bryant.
And Bryant's in there battling now with size. Bryant weighs what, 162 or 3 pounds? 6'2"? Yeah.
Again, Kidd-Gilchrist back on D-Bost. That's been the equalizer for Kentucky in the second half. Bost, steal on a runner, a tough shot. He'll go to the free throw line as he's fouled by Teague, and that is 4 on Teague. Well, foul trouble could come into play for both teams before this is over. Sidney's on the bench with 4. Teague is heading to the bench right now as Darius Miller's going to check in for him as he's got 4. Remember, one of those was a technical.
Teague didn't want to come out, but he has to. I mean, there's over 8 minutes to go. Yeah, he was just caught trailing on a curl cut and then compounded the problem by reaching at the end.
Steele would be probably the top free throw shooter in the conference if he had enough attempts. He shoots 87% from the stripe. He's got 10 points. Steele, a sophomore out of Knoxville. Bounced the second around and in.
Now these are 2 big possessions coming up because the next dead ball is going to be the next TV timeout. And if you're Mississippi State, you want this building at high energy at that point. Can they get there?
Miller. That'll quiet him down. A 3-pointer for Darius Miller, who just checked back in for Teague, and that's his first basket of the night. Couldn't be bigger or at a better time.
I'm telling you, that's a big basket for Kentucky because it quiets this crowd and takes away what was the building getting ready to explode heading into the next TV timeout.
Bost around a pick on the baseline. Tough pass to handle. He'll take a jumper off balance over Kidd-Gilchrist.
Boy, Kidd-Gilchrist making a lot of tough 2 shots attempts by D-Bost.
Jones underneath, and now Kentucky with 5 straight points. And they've done just what Jimmy said Mississippi State didn't want them to do. It's a 2-point game. This is as close as it's been since the opening basket of the ball game.
A minute ago, with 8:08 on the clock, Kentucky had to win the next 2 or 3 possessions, and they have.
Cross-court pass. Here's Steele for 3. Followed by Moultrie. Beautiful timing by Moultrie to go up and hammer it home.
2 points on the board, and a lot of energy now back in the building. That basket is worth more than 2 points to Mississippi State.
Lamb rimmed out a 3. 4-point game with 6.5 to go. Boss pull up 3 over Davis. Got it! First it was Moultrie with the follow. As Jimmy said, that got the crowd alive, but nothing like what D-Boss just did before the break from 3-point land. And let's take a look at how the SEC's built their program, brought to you by Sears. Alabama, the national champion in football. Kentucky #1 in both polls in basketball, but that's in jeopardy. And Florida started the season atop the college baseball poll. But on that last play by D-Boss, #1's in trouble with 6:27 to go.
Well, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist has been so good defensively, but he makes a mistake. Boom, right there. Both feet are inside the 3-point line. So now you're going to give a 3-point shooter D-Boss room. Anthony Davis is a little bit late recovering, and D-Boss has been on fire in this game. He's now 3 out of 5 from 3. So just a half-step late recovery by Anthony Davis. Kidd-Gilchrist got buried inside the 3, and the energy is back in the building.
7-point game with 6:27 remaining. D-Boss with 21 points to lead all scorers.
I think Kentucky goes inside. Again, where's your size advantage in your mismatch?
Miller short on a 3. And a foul is going to be called out. Jalen Steele. 6:17 remaining. Kentucky will be shooting free throws when we come back.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by KFC. Bring something different to the party with KFC sauceless hot wings, now just 50 cents each. And in part by Lincoln. Trade up to luxury during the Lincoln Exchange sales event. And Tower Heist, now on Blu-ray and DVD.
Super Tuesday presented by KFC. Mississippi State by 7. 6:17 remaining. The officials took a look at that foul on Jalen Steele. It was on a Darius Miller 3. So 3 free throws coming up for the senior out of Maysville, Kentucky.
Brad, you could see on the replay the foul on the elbow of the shooter, and that's something that sometimes is easily missed because officials get focused in on the release point, but they were right on top of Steele, hitting the elbow of Miller.
Gary's first trip to the free throw line tonight. Calmly knocks down the first one.
Brett, I think he will make an NBA roster and be similar to a guy like Danny Green to the Spurs. Get you 6 or 7 points a game, can defend multiple positions, get you 3 or 4 rebounds. He's the glue guy when you ask John Calipari to describe Darius Miller in one word. He says glue.
And the glue just stuck 3 free throws. 60-56. Bryant, double team, trying to feed the post, and he threw it away to Darius Miller. Lamb again at the point with Marcus Teague on the bench with 4 fouls. Kidd-Gilchrist through traffic and somehow powered another one off the window.
Brad, how strong is he? And that's a play call by Calipari, back to his NBA mentality. Find an isolation, a matchup that you like, and attack.
And now Mississippi State almost threw it away. Would have been just an unforced error with the ball heading into the backcourt. Luckily saved by Steele. DeBost with 10 on the shot clock, might be looking for another shot. Instead, he goes down low and found an open man in Wendell Lewis. Under 5 to go.
Brad, Rick Stansbury goes zone because he doesn't like that isolation mentality that John Calipari's been throwing at.
Miller, big three, got it.
And it's hard to zone Kentucky because of that right there. You've got two shooters on the floor in Lamb and Miller that are lethal.
1-point game with 4:35 left. Mississippi State led by 13 at the break. Bost again on the dribble and the drive. Blocked by Davis. Kidd-Gilchrist got his own miss. He's fouled, and Kentucky leads.
How tough is this young fella right here? How tough is 14 in blue? I don't think there is a single individual defender that can stop him in transition in college ball. He's too strong, too powerful, too determined. He misses and goes right back up with a great big tick-tock inside the jersey. And that's a big Valentine rebound by Michael Kidd-Gilchrist.
Doesn't get the three-point play, but he gives his team its first lead of the night. At the 4-minute and change mark, Kentucky by 1. Cats on a 10-2 run. Under 4 minutes to go, Moultrie. And we're going to have a foul on Lewis. 3:52 remaining. For the first time going to a timeout. I tell you that Kentucky's in front, courtesy of number 14. They lead by 1.
So that's as soon as Kentucky and Mississippi State. Put it in the books, guys.
All right, Coach. Well, here's a number 1 seeded team and the number 1 ranked team in the country leading by 1. That's a lot of ones, but they hadn't led until just moments ago. Anthony Davis standing at the free throw line.
Right, Kentucky has been so much stronger with the basketball in this second half. They only went to the free throw stripe. Kentucky did in the first half 4 times. And now they're attempting their 17th free throw in the ball game overall, correct?
Well, this was interesting, yes. Anthony Davis was standing at the free throw line, and DeBost just came over to the officials and said, wait a minute. Kidd-Gilchrist is the guy that got fouled. And Kidd-Gilchrist, a 75% free throw shooter. Davis is a 70% free throw shooter. I don't know if it matters. This guy's had an unbelievable second half. He's got 11 of his 17 points.
If the officials weren't certain, they can check the monitor to see who got fouled. They can't go to the monitor to see who fouled, which to me doesn't line up with the common sense index.
Three-point game.
Kentucky only 4 fouls in the second half. They can be very aggressive.
Terrence Jones picks up his third. Now Ronaldo Sidney goes to the free throw line, and he hasn't made a trip there tonight.
And he hit that 3 to start the ball game. He hasn't done anything since.
Well, he's not a very good free throw shooter either, 60%. And now Mississippi State's going to have to scrap for every point they can get after letting a 13-point halftime lead disappear. And he missed them both.
Yes. Brad, too much movement. After he releases the ball, he's either moving forward or fading backwards. He needs to stay locked in. man-to-man. Calipari right now searching. Where's the mismatch? It's Michael Kidd-Gilchrist size-wise. He's hung up top of the ball.
Yeah, he didn't want to handle the ball if he can help it. Lamb. Collision with DeBost. That'll be 3 on Bost. Coming up tomorrow night, ESPN's got an NBA doubleheader for you, 7 o'clock. The Celtics take on Kevin Durant and the Thunder. And then at 9:30 Eastern, Kobe and the Lakers taking on the Mavericks. Doubleheader NBA Wednesday tomorrow night.
Rather than the first half, Kentucky they were kind of trying to go around contact when contact came into play. And watch Deron Lamb right here. He's going to go right at the hip of the guy guarding. Boom, right there. Now that's looking for contact and understanding where you are in the ball game. A very good adjustment in terms of how Kentucky's playing from the first half to the second.
Deron Lamb trying to give Kentucky a 5-point lead. See if we had a lane violation. We did. 66-62 with 3:11 left. Crowd looking for some hope again.
DeBost has been good. Kid with the basketball is a shooter. You got Moultrie on the inside. Those are your primary weapons.
Moultrie asking for it. His eyes got big and DeBost didn't get it to him. He wants it. Terrence Jones.
The best post defense right now is Kidd-Gilchrist pressuring the basketball. Look at this guy.
Moultrie rejected by Davis. Another Anthony Davis block shot changes things on the inside.
Remember how they drug Anthony Davis away from the rim in the first half? Yep. They have not done it in the second half, and that's why his block total now is right back where it normally is.
Davis trying to set a screen on DeBost to Deron Lamb. He gets it back, and he's going to the rack with it.
They expose Renardo Sidney on the pick and pop. And Anthony Davis measured it. He saw that Renardo Sidney was checking him man-to-man, and in 2 big bounces and 2 big steps, he blows right by number 1.
68-62 now. Kentucky with its biggest advantage of the night. Remember, back in the first half, when Shannon talked to Cal during one of the timeouts and his team was down double digits, this was what he had to say.
They're beating us to every ball. They're playing harder. They're being more physical. We can't play through a bump when miss 10 layups on drives and complaining about officials instead of balling. You got to compete. And this is good for my team.
Well, it's good for his team, and now his team's playing like they're number 1 in the country again. Kidd-Gilchrist just wasn't to be denied on that one, and that was a 3-point play that gave Kentucky its first lead.
They've been the physically stronger team, the more determined team in the second half. And for a young ball club in this building to stay together and to stay tough, that's what I've been so impressed with Michigan State lately. Their togetherness and their toughness. And those teams are going to have the best chance of getting to New Orleans.
You saw that 32% from the floor in the second half, and that's much more like what Kentucky gives you defensively over the course of a game. As you look at the top 10, Kentucky trying to go to 27-1, trying to win their 19th straight game and their 7th straight on the road. Missouri lost tonight, right?
Yes, they did.
See if DeBost can get some of the magic back. Steele, the good outside shooter, got another one, but it's inside the line. And a timeout immediately taken by Rick Stansberry.
Brad, that was the same elevator screen that got him a shot 3 or 4 minutes ago. This time Kentucky did a better job of chasing him off, but you're going to see the screen up top by the 2 bigs. So again, coming out of the timeout, see right there, he pops right through 1 and 23. But Terrence Jones sniffs it out, and they chase him off the 3-point line and only give up 2 this time as opposed to 3. And that's better recognition by Kentucky defensively. That is a very hard play to guard, because you start a shooter under the rim, and there's just a foot race when that thing's closing down.
Well, that was a heck of a shot by Steele, too.
Was.
Off balance, fading to his left. 13 points. Moultrie's got 13. DeBost has 21. two-possession game with just under 2 minutes to go. Kentucky definitely not out of the woods or out of the hump, as it were.
Mississippi State's going to go zone, at least to start this possession. You better tag 20 in blue and number 1 in blue. Those are the shooters.
Miller, they got on him in time before he could draw and fire. 15 on the shot clock. Miller way out, but he was open.
That is big-time offense. They set a high on-ball screen and get one guy guarding two, and the two guys were both shooters, Lamb and Miller.
Darius Miller, all his points, Jimmy, have come in the second half. Boss misses outside. Moultrie trying to find a handle on the inside. It's still loose. And a tie-up. This will go to Kentucky.
Right, again, you cannot guard Kentucky in zone. There's what I'm talking about. That on-ball action up top allows Deron Lamb and Darius Miller to get a 2-on-1 action. And Calipari says, this is what I want. This is what we get. Well done.
Darius Miller, all 12 of his points in this second half, including 3 big three-pointers, as you see. And that last one's given his team a 7-point lead, their biggest advantage of the night. Remember, Kentucky trailed by 13 at halftime. They've made up that ground and a lot more here in the second half with a minute to play. Now they're going to try to play keep away as long as they can.
Well, Kentucky's fine with this.
Yeah, don't foul us. That's
Absolutely.
great. We'll just move it around the court.
Absolutely.
Devos trying to come up with a clean steal. And they're going to let the shot clock go down. 7, 6, 5. Lamb on the baseline with a hook shot that doesn't go. But still, time is of the essence. There's only a second difference between the shot clock and the game clock. And Moultrie missing a 3. DeBost trying to keep it alive, but Kentucky's got the ball. And now they do have a foul on the baseline with 25 seconds left. And the #1 team in the country apparently is going to survive a big scare on the road tonight.
I don't understand Mississippi State not fouling. And then again, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. I mean, those are winning rebounds. And I think he tried to sell it there at the end, but those are winning and advancing the bracket type rebounds that Michael Kidd-Gilchrist and Terrence Jones and Anthony Davis can get for you.
Yeah. Jalen Steele also limped over to the Mississippi State bench, so they already lost his starter tonight, and he's the guy that's taken Rodney Hood's spot for the entire game. And that last foul on DeBost, I think an intentional foul on Kidd-Gilchrist, shoving him out of bounds. And a flagrant 1 called, and that's why Kidd-Gilchrist is all alone at the free throw line.
I mean, DeBost was making no honest effort to play the ball. That was all he was doing was foul on purpose to stop the clock, and by rule, and by definition, flagrant 1.
By the way, he did help Kidd-Gilchrist up after he did it. The frustration of a great night of basketball by DeBost just got away from there for a second. He'd be the first guy to tell you that.
I am so impressed with the determination and the resiliency that Kentucky has shown in this ball game, Brad, because it was there for the taking from Mississippi State.
And now Deron Lamb's going to bring it down court. Mississippi State's going to let it go. And a sensational SEC basketball game on this super fat Tuesday. Mississippi State had a fat lead at halftime, and Kentucky took it away from them in the second half. And they win going away, actually.
Kentucky, as if they didn't need to make a statement, they make another one.
Yep. Now they get at least a share of the SEC championship regular season title. They're 45th in Kentucky basketball history, and their 2079 program win. It was one they really had to fight for on the road. They've won 7 straight road games, 19 straight basketball games overall, which is the longest streak in the country. But boy, John Calipari told us today there's going to be a point where we're going to have to fight and earn one. They had to fight and earn one tonight at Humphrey Coliseum in Starkville.
Brad, the defense of Kentucky partners so impressive when you consider Mississippi State led 60-53 with about 6.5 to go. From that point on, Kentucky clamped down and goes on a 20-4 run.
To win it going away, and Shannon's with a winning coach.
Well, Coach, you told me going in the first half, that a game like this is good for your team. What do you hope they learn tonight?
Well, I told them at halftime, we're down 6 baskets. What are we made of? I thought they really just basically threw us around. Terrence Jones was terrific in the second half. When he plays that way, we're really good. Second thing is we made some shots, made a few threes. Darius Miller was terrific. You know, Michael Gilchrist and Anthony did what they do, rebounding the ball, but it was a good win for us, good road win.
To come back from 13 points down, what
We should have been
statement?
down 20. We were lucky it was 13.
What statement does this make for you guys?
No statement. We got to get better. We got to understand when teams come in with that kind of intensity and energy, we got to execute better, and we got to bring it too.
Thanks, Coach.
So another win for John Calipari, and he matches his longest winning streak as the head coach of Kentucky. 19 straight. They go to 27-1. They're 13-0 and have a share of the SEC regular season title. SEC tournament just a week and a half away. That's going to wrap it up. 73-64 the final. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Shannon Spake, Jimmy Dykes.